everybody. All right, I think that I'm being live streamed also on Facebook too. I apologize. I'm apparently a minute or two late, but I am very, very excited about this topic because I have been digging a lot deeper into this and researching a lot deeper into this, especially the past year, as this is very conducive to how you're going to be able to perform and also how you're going to be able to optimize your programming for your training as well as your nutrition. I'm going to share a little bit about at the end what I've been doing and give you some tips as to what I've been doing myself. I'm also going to educate you on the different types of nutrition during different phases, a little bit more about your female hormones and what they do in particular, because that's going to help you to understand why your body does certain things in certain phases. And then what workouts are going to be beneficial in each of those phases. So I've been applying this to my programming, my training, and my nutrition, and I have seen such a difference. So, and we think as females that, oh, we don't really need to worry about that, but actually it is pretty important to know where you are in your cycle. So with that in mind, today I'm going to be talking about athletic performance and the menstrual cycle. I'm going to first introduce myself. Hello, my name is Drew Mulvey. I'm a certified dietitian nutritionist. I'm a board certified nutrition specialist. I am a certified LEAP therapist, which is a specific food sensitivity protocol based off of mediator release testing. It is about 92% accurate and specific for those food sensitivities. It is incredible for any sort of inflammatory issue, migraines, IBS, as well as athletic performance. I've done it twice, and it is the most accurate food sensitivity test I've ever taken. I am a precision nutrition level 1 coach, which is more holistic sports nutrition and taking the whole person and taking into account the whole picture. I am a certified personal trainer through NASM. I am training here currently in my town, and I am a candidate for the certificate in integrative and functional sports nutrition from the Center of Integrative Sports Nutrition out of the UK. I've been learning a lot with that too, and I am very excited to bring a lot of that new knowledge and that information to you. So particularly, I work with overachieving athletic females to help increase energy and stamina, as well as athletic performance by putting together individualized plans and really repairing your relationship with food, because your relationship with food actually does affect your hormonal balance as well. Oh, Jonah! Oh, excellent! I am so glad that you are in here today. All right, well, I really hope that you learn a lot because as I said, I have been hitting the books, and this is something I've actually become passionate about. I was already passionate about this because I'm going to share a little bit about my background. So when I was 27 years old, I lost my period. Before then, I've always been an athlete my whole entire life and have had a slew of health conditions. But 27, I lost my period. And I lost it for a good 5 years. So I was actually diagnosed with functional hypothalamic amenorrhea. And that can not only impact your ability to reproduce, but it can also decrease your bone density, which I was borderline osteopenic because my estrogen had tanked. So during that time, I did not want to go on the pill. So what I did was I did a little dabbling in traditional Chinese medicine. At the time, I was also getting my master's degree in nutrition as well. I was applying all that knowledge and how the energy in food actually helps your system. And now, as of 2020, I am free from functional hypothalamic amenorrhea. Yay! I did this through lifestyle, through Whole Foods. And during this time, I also got my athletic career back, my athletic ability. So for a while, I didn't think I could ever train hard again. But now in 2020, I was really training hard for triathlons, and I'm aspiring to do a half Ironman now. Now, I was already passionate about balancing hormones then, but now I've really dug a little bit deeper since now I'm going to be training for this or I am training for a half Ironman, and it puts a little bit more stress on your body. And if you're not training properly, and you're not eating properly based off of your phases and each cycle during your cycle, then you could actually be overstressing your body. So that's what I'm going to be talking a little bit about today is how you can program your workouts and how you can program your nutrition as well around those workouts so that your body is functioning optimally and you can work around what exactly is going on during those phases. All right, so first off, I just want to start with what are the hormones? Well, as women, we do have a little bit of testosterone. That is our androgen. We do need that for energy. But our primary hormones are estrogen and progesterone. Now, estrogen and progesterone are not only responsible for reproduction, they have several other functions in the body. So, estrogen is important for brain power, it's important for serotonin production, it is important for HDL production, which is our good cholesterol, it is important for blood pressure, and it is very important for bone mass and remember this one, blood flow. Very important for blood flow. Now we have progesterone. Progesterone is important for mood, for appetite, for sleep, for dopamine production, which dopamine is actually responsible for all of those as well. It is also an anxiolytic, so it helps to calm you down a little bit. Now, why is it important that we pay attention to those two? Because they have two different roles in the body, not just reproduction. Estrogen, in accordance with your workouts and how you're going to be training and performing, is very important for muscle strength and muscle development. It is also important, I shouldn't say important, but when estrogen levels are well, estrogen helps with more nitric oxide production. And nitric oxide is a compound that actually helps to dilate your blood vessels, and that gets nutrients and vitamins and all that good stuff delivered to organs and to your muscles more effectively. It also helps with oxygenation, so that oxygen transfer. So that's going to help decrease fatigue. That's also going to help with your breathing too. So more oxygen transfer in your lungs. That is super important. Now, progesterone, on the other hand, is decreased in decreases nitric oxide in your body. So if you think about that, that would probably vasoconstrict. Your blood plasma volume is going to be higher. So it's going to be important that you dilate those blood vessels a little bit more so that you can improve your oxygenation. So progesterone can really inhibit that ventilation and that ventilatory threshold so that you're not getting that oxygen transfer. I hope from the little that I did tell you, you're kind of starting to see, oh, there's been good weeks that I've been able to strength train and I've been fast. And then there's others where I just feel like I have a brick on me and I just feel very weak. Well, you can thank your hormones for that. They have a role in this. So with that in mind, with progesterone and with estrogen, I am going to go into the phases. So there is now the follicular phase, which is it's the first half of your menstrual cycle. So a typical menstrual cycle is about 28 days. That's the average. It can be 25 days. It can range up to 32 days. Now, the follicular phase is just the first half of that menstrual cycle. And then the luteal phase comes after that. That's going to be the second half. So if it's a perfect world and it's 28 days, the follicular phase is going to be from day 1 to 14. Ovulation is going to be right in the middle there. And then from 14 to 28, there's going to be the luteal phase. So very important because there's going to be hormonal shifts during that time. Now, let's start from the beginning. So the follicular phase starts right when you get your period. At that time, estrogen and progesterone are going to be low. So you might feel a little ornery because your serotonin and your dopamine production is a little bit low. But then after that day, your estrogen actually starts to increase. And what was I saying before about estrogen? Estrogen helps with the production of nitric oxide. So your blood vessels are actually going to be able to dilate more. You're not going to be, you're getting better oxygen exchange in the lungs, and you're able to do things quicker. So with that in mind, oh, and I did say this before, that estrogen is responsible for that muscle strength. So in that follicular phase, That's when you're going to be getting your 1 rep maxes. That's when you're going to be getting your PRs. And that's when you're also going to be incorporating more of that high intensity because your body is able to utilize carbs a lot better in that phase. Now, keep in mind, because your body's able to utilize carbohydrates much more effectively in that phase, you're still going to need those carbohydrates because the body's using them up really quickly. So before you're exercising, incorporating maybe about 30 grams of carbohydrates can be really, really beneficial as your body is able to pull from those things. Now, why is it carbohydrates and high intensity? Well, high intensity is usually in zone 3. So there's 3 different zones for heart rate. There's zone 1, which is going to be really easy. There's zone 2, which actually, if you're an endurance athlete, you probably know very well about zone 2. That's called the fat metabolism or fat. That's the stage or the sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Forgive me. That's the heart rate zone in which your body is utilizing more fats for energy. And then you get up to more of the faster pace. And that is where your body's utilizing more of those carbohydrates. So those high intensity exercises are in that zone 3. That makes sense, right? Because your body's utilizing carbs more. But the problem is because your body's utilizing carbs more, they are going to get depleted quicker. So you need to make sure if you have a workout over 60 minutes long or 90 minutes that you really replete. Now, I used to think that it was 30 grams. You could do 30 grams every half an hour, or you could do 60 grams of carbohydrates. And if you're going for a while, it should be simple carbohydrates even afterwards to replete those glycogen levels so you're stored up for the next day. Um, I think that that's pretty much the gist of the follicular phase. So that's where you want to incorporate more of your strength and also strength endurance. So those high intensity strength workouts like CrossFit, really good for power and explosion that can really actually be very beneficial for even those that are endurance athletes because it's going to increase your stamina. Actually, training anaerobic really helps with your stride for endurance work. All right, now, so you go to ovulation. Ovulation is where estrogen is going to be at its peak. So you are going to be strong. That's where you're going to be your strongest. And that's when you're going to be able to do those quick hit workouts too. So that's going to be really beneficial to do those hit workouts, interval workouts. And as I said, 1 to 6 rep max for strength. So if you are an endurance athlete, that would look more like VO2 max types of workouts and interval workouts, such as fartleks, because you're able to just sprint a lot quicker. Now, after ovulation, we transition into the luteal phase, and estrogen starts to drop as progesterone starts to rise up. Now, I was saying before that estrogen helps with blood flow. So, what do you think is going to happen with the luteal phase? Progesterone is going to decrease the blood flow due to the decreased production of nitric oxide. So, the blood vessels are going to be a little bit more constricted because the blood plasma is elevated. So, you need a little bit more help especially with your workouts. You're also pulling more from your fats as well. Usually, have you felt that one week you're doing really great and then all of a sudden you're just huffing and puffing the week after? Well, if you transition from the follicular to the luteal, there's a reason for that because there's less oxygenation in your lungs and you're not able to breathe as well in that phase. So, with that in mind, you're actually going to need to give your body a little bit of help. Okay, so there's 2 different ways that you can do this. If you are going to be doing more CrossFit style workouts, you are not going to be as fast and on the ball. But because, as I was saying, remember those higher intensity requires those carbohydrates because it's in zone 3. You can incorporate some more carbohydrates, especially around your workouts, so that your body's pulling from those a little bit more. Now for they because you're utilizing fats a little bit more, that can be really beneficial for more low intensity and longer distance. So your zone 2 workouts. So for those of you that are more endurance, that would be tempo workouts and that would be threshold. Now threshold, that is getting your heart rate up a little bit, but it's not going completely up into the high zone 3. um, I've been reading a book and I've been starting to incorporate this into I have been incorporating this into my training where it's called the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your training is done in zone 2 and 20% in more the moderate intense area for heart rate zones. So doing more of those zone 2 are going to be much more beneficial. Now through that workout, what you would want to do is 20% of that would be more of the moderate, like the threshold, and then the rest would be zone 2. So if you're doing a 60-minute workout and there's threshold in there, would be about 8 minutes, I believe. 8 minutes. Oh, I don't know. Hold on a second, everybody. I don't know what just happened to my Facebook. I'm live on Facebook. That is weird. All right, I apologize. And I don't know if I'm on Facebook because something just happened with technology. All right. Well, anyway, with that, more endurance style training, threshold, tempo workouts, tempo, you're pretty much staying in that zone 2. You're warming up with more lighter weight or a lighter intensity. And then when it comes to strength, that's going to be more of your body weight workouts, a little bit lower intensity. You can still lift heavy. I don't know how I did this, but somehow I PR'd my first PR this year in deadlift in my follicular phase. But if you think about it, you're resting for more periods of time. So incorporate a little bit more of those rest periods. Again, if you're going to be doing things a little bit quicker, add in a little bit more carbohydrate beforehand. Nutrition wise, I was just talking about carbohydrates. Incorporating sources of nitric oxide is really going to help before your workout because it helps to dilate those blood vessels. It'll help with oxygenation and also blood flow to the organs and to the muscles so that they're being oxygenated properly and those nutrients are getting delivered much quicker. So including sources of nitric oxide, particularly cacao, beetroot powder, kale, arugula, and spinach can really help to just open up those blood vessels and really help you to improve your performance so that you're able to breathe a lot better and can decrease fatigue as well. With progesterone, so progesterone also tends to be a little bit more catabolic. If something is catabolic, it's going to be putting a little bit more stress on your body. So I would recommend incorporating some sort of a protein definitely after your workout. If you've had a long, hard workout, no matter what, if you have been doing 90 minutes of steady state or 60 minutes of really, really intense, I do recommend a protein and some simple carbohydrates in a 3-to-1 ratio normally. It depends on when you have eaten. I will put that in my blog post. And it depends on the person too. Sometimes their body's just really stressed and they need that extra. At least getting a meal in within an hour after you work out with that protein, at least 20 grams of protein, and then the 3-to-1 ratio. So that would be about 60 grams of carbohydrates. And then you've got your veggies and your fats in there too, is going to be really important. You might even need a little bit more carbohydrate because your body it's a little bit more stressed, and making sure that you have you're repleting with protein even beforehand to prevent potential muscle breakdown. So, with that in mind, I'm going to share something with you. I have incorporated a little concoction before I work out, and let me tell you, this has helped me immensely with my performance. So, this usually during my luteal phase, I couldn't perform very well at all. I was tired, I was crashing, and I didn't know what was going wrong. So now I have incorporated a concoction that consists of essential amino acids because that actually helps to maintain your lean body mass. It also tells your body to calm down a little bit. Coconut water. Coconut water has potassium in it, which you might want to be a little cautious with because you don't want to, I should say, over potassium. Because if you're sweating, you're actually going to be sweating more in your luteal phase. So it will be important to hydrate with a little extra sodium and electrolytes during and after. Oh, and then, excuse me, during your workouts during the luteal phase too, you will need carbohydrates because your body is just not able to pull from those carbohydrates effectively. But back to my little concoction. So it's essential amino acids. It is coconut water for all the carbohydrates in there and a little bit of electrolyte too. I put some, I've gotten this, I shouldn't even call it a pre workout because it's all natural. It is a concoction of there is green tea extract, there's yerba mate. I think there's also green coffee extract too. I didn't realize there was green coffee, but I think that was anyway, I'm going off on a rabbit hole if I talk about that. There's a proprietary blend in there with beetroot powder and pomegranate. So that beetroot is going to help with that vasodilation. And then there's also adaptogens in there as well, such as rhodiola. There's ashwagandha, and there's the medicinal mushrooms too. So that's basically a whole food thing. I also put some coconut milk in there as a fat just to kind of slow down the release of caffeine and slow everything down so that it's not so much of a bam on your body. Let me tell you, this has been a game changer. I have been able to run much further. I've been able to breathe much better, and I have certainly had much less fatigue as well. So that's going to be really important to incorporate some sort of source of nitric oxide before your workouts, especially if you're doing something tough. I think that I covered everything. Hydration is always going to be important. Usually, what I recommend after you're working out for about an hour, about 300 to 500 milligrams of sodium in some sort of an electrolyte concoction. Depends on how much. If you're a salty sweater, you might need upwards of 500 milligrams. If you're not, then more of the 300 milligrams should be more effective for you. Is there anything else that I left out? Oh, yes. Well, you know what? I have already talked about that. So I have done a talk already about PMS symptoms and nutrients to incorporate for those PMS symptoms. Now that's going to be in the luteal phase. Please check out my blog post on that. It is on my website, redeeminglifenutrition.com. And that actually ties very much into this as well, because it tells you about the hormones, and there's other hormones that our sex hormones actually manipulate as well. That incorporating these particular nutrients are going to be very beneficial for the symptoms of potential PMS or when you are getting your menses. All right, so with that in mind, just a little bit of a recap. So your menses, or your menstrual cycle, can significantly affect your athletic performance and significantly affect how you're going to be training, when you're going to be training. So during that cycle, it's the follicular and the luteal phase. One is the first half, which is usually day 1 through 14, and then the second half, 14 to 28. Estrogen tends to be increased during the first half and progesterone increased during the second half. So the first one, estrogen, is important for nitric oxide production and also for muscle development and power. So that's where you're going to get more of your strength gains and high intensity interval workouts during that time during the follicular phase. Also, your body is pulling more from carbohydrates, so it's using them up more. So it's very important that you are incorporating carbohydrates around your training to support that. Now, when you go into your luteal phase, that's when progesterone actually decreases nitric oxide and can be a little bit of catabolic. So you want to incorporate some sources of nitric oxide, such as beetroot juice or cacao, before you work out, as well as some essential amino acids. Um, and you're going to be utilizing fat more. So to pull from those carbohydrates and to get a little bit more carbohydrates, especially if you're doing workouts that are a little bit more intense, it's not usually recommended, as I did recommend. That's probably going to be the better time where you do more of those endurance workouts and those low intensity workouts. And if you do strength train, then as I said, just make sure that you take a little bit more of rest breaks and then have those carbohydrates and the essential amino acids before you go into your workout and training as well. All right. Well, I hope that you all enjoyed this. And please feel free if you have any questions for me about any of this, I would be more than happy to answer them for you. So please shoot me a DM. Um, and then if this has been something that you've been wondering about and you really want to start chasing your athletic goals and optimizing your training and your programming with nutrition and even recommending some exercises as well, I do work with overachieving athletic females to improve energy, stamina, and athletic performance through these individualized plans, physiological testing, and also repairing your relationship with food so you're really getting the most out of every area to improve your athletic performance. And if that sounds like you, then I would absolutely love to speak with you and get you on track to getting to your athletic goals, um, and improving your athletic performance. All right. So with that in mind, I will reintroduce myself. Hello, my name. Hello. I am Drew Maltby. I'm a board certified nutrition specialist. I am a certified dietitian and nutritionist. I am a certified lead therapist, which is a specific food sensitivity protocol based off of mediator release testing. This test is phenomenal. It's 92% accurate and specific for those specific food sensitivities. And it's great for any sort of inflammatory issues, migraines, IBS, and athletic performance. I am a precision nutrition level 1 coach, which is more holistic sports nutrition. I am a certified personal trainer, and I am a candidate for the certificate of integrative and functional sports nutrition through the Center of Integrative Sports Nutrition in the UK. And that is me. So again, if this has really spoken to you and you really, really want to start optimizing your training and really start enhancing your athletic performance, let's do it. Sign up for an icebreaker call with me, and then I could go over your goals. We can go over your needs and get something going for you. That link is available in my bio for those of you who are on Instagram. For those of you that are on Facebook, the link will be in the comments below. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again for joining, and I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. Take care. Bye bye.